Coming up on this program, we show you how to get connected. Find out how to choose an internet service provider. Discover the newest form of communication, electronic mail.
Ways down and ready to ride. One by one, billion by billion, they're holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing. If you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Time for
Hello, everybody. Bill, you're hilarious. I hope everybody is doing well today. Please make sure that you hit the like button. Super duper helpful. YouTube Daddy loves it. I have an ice cold Coca-Cola to drink. I'm just about to open it and pour it into my glass with my ice in it. Buckle up. We have one long case that we're watching tonight. It's over an hour and 15 minutes long, plus me talking. And if you don't want to hear it with me in it, you'll have to wait. But yeah. Tell me what you had for dinner tonight. This is a dress. Yes, Courtney, as usual. Tell me what you had for dinner tonight. If you didn't like what you had for dinner, tell me what you wish you had for dinner. I haven't had dinner yet. I actually have to pick up groceries after this live is over. My favorite is little crunchy bits of ice. Oh, I love ice. And beef stew. That sounds good. BLT sounds like what I will probably end up having for dinner. Like I said, we have one case tonight. It's from Judge Baker down in Texas. And I will say this. Judge Baker always gives a little reminder about following court rules and not recording court. But she also, so you'll see that in the middle of the video because she sort of didn't do it at the beginning. But later on in the day today, after I'd recorded this case, she came on live. Anyway, I'll just show you. She came on live, and I think this is the message she wanted us to see to start with. Yeah. She just sort of came on, stood there a little bit, gives me a little bit of a side angle, and then she cut this off. I do find it cute. I was like, what is she doing here? Like, I couldn't quite figure it out. And then she stands up, gives me the hand on the hip. When she dips, she dips, she dips. And that was pretty much it. Anyways.
Miss Lewis, are you able to?
Oh, just before we get going. So she put her robes back on. This is a child support case. Both of the people are represented by attorneys, which is quite interesting. But more interesting is there's a third attorney that's going to be present, and that is the attorney for the Office of the Attorney General. In Texas, if a child is on Medicaid or public assistance benefits, then the Office of the Attorney General gets involved in making sure that child support is filed. So that is why they are involved. But each of the parties also have hired their own attorneys. So Dad and his lawyer are sitting in the same room right over here. And then Mom's going to pop up here shortly, and her lawyer is the lady on the top close to the judge.
Unmute and turn on your camera. So
Yes,
everyone is
ma'am.
ready.
Yes, Judge, state's ready.
We are live on the record.
No, what I meant is that if it's not included in a divorce agreement, then the Office of the Attorney General can and will file. But I don't know that they do that if, like, they're not alerted to it. Is it every case? That's interesting. What, even if you settle it in your divorce, the Office of the Attorney General has their hand in it? That's interesting. Seems like a lot of maintenance of child support. We have a what we call family maintenance program. So that's an enforcement agent or enforcement arm of the Attorney General's office to enforce child support, but it's definitely not in all cases.
And cause number 09 DCV 171138. This is an original petition and suit affecting the parent-child relationship, suit for modification, and motion to confirm arrears. There's also 2 counter petitions on file. Ms. Lewis has filed a counter petition and suit affecting the parent-child relationship and counter petition to modify the parent-child relationship. She filed that October 2nd of 2023. Mr. Moore also filed a counter petition to modify the parent-child relationship, and he filed that on September 12th of 2023. All parties are present on Zoom today, and this is a remote proceeding. We're proceeding in this manner pursuant to the Texas Family Code, section 201.1045, and I find that nobody has filed any written objection to proceeding in this manner. And I guess we'll start with Mr. Moore. Can you please state your name for the record?
Joseph Hilton Moore.
And sir, can you get closer to the device because you're a little hard to hear? And for just your name, I certainly understand, but once you start getting into testimony, it might become challenging. Ms. Lewis, can you state your full name for the record, please?
Valencia Renee Lewis.
And counsel for Mr. Moore, can you please state your name for the record?
Chris Forbes, Steinman Law Firm.
And counsel for Ms. Lewis, can you please state your name for the record?
Attorney Renee Taylor, present for Valencia Lewis.
And Ms. Lewis and Mr. Moore, if you can both please raise your right hands. Do you each solemnly swear that any testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And you may both lower your hands. And counsel for the Attorney General's office, please state your name.
Toya Armstrong, representing the Office of Attorney General, Child Support Division.
Okay. And where are we on this? I know there's a lot of competing pleadings. What are they wanting to proceed on today?
Yes, Judge, we have a partial agreement on most of the issues. If I could read those partial agreements to the record and then let you know what's left for the court to do. As far as conservatorship, the parties agree that mom would be what's called the managed conservator, dad would be the possessory conservator of the one remaining minor child. As far as visitations, dad will have a phased-in visitation because of the child's age. Phase 1 will be the first, third, and fifth Saturday from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. for one visit supervised. Phase 2 will be first, third, and fifth Saturday from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. for one visit. Phase 3 will be first, third, and fifth Saturday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for 3 visits. And then phase 4 will be the first, third, and fifth Saturday at 6 p.m. overnight to Sunday at 6 p.m. for 3 visits. Once dad has completed all 4 phases, he then would go into the standard possession order at that time. Parties have also agreed that there will be a public place for pickup and drop off of the child. And that pickup and drop off location would be the Chick-fil-A located at 9101 Spencer Highway, LaPorte, Texas, 77571. The parties have also agreed that they will communicate concerning the child through the program called App Close. and that mom will get a non-disclosure finding as to her address and contact information will not be placed in the order. The parties also agreed that no party has private health insurance available at a reasonable cost at this time. And so mom will apply for government medical program and dad will pay medical support of $250 per month beginning June 1, 2024. Parties do agree that retroactive child support period that we'll be discussing during trial today will be from the date of the child's birth, which is March 29th, 2022, through today's date, which is May 28th, 2024, which comes to 27 months. The amount of that retroactive child support is in dispute. The second thing in dispute is what current child support would be going forward starting June 1, 2024. The parties understand that any court costs billed by Fort Bend County would be billed to dad. I'll have the court do a year from today, May 28th, 2025 against Mr. Moore. So to recap, Judge, the only remaining issues for the court is what current child support would be of 20% for one child, and what retro child support judgment would be, if anything, from March 29, 2022 through today's date. A second stipulation, well, it may not be a stipulation, but the third issue would be confirming what the medical arrears that dad owes on the prior order are and what the child support arrears dad owes on the prior order are. We'll add that to any retro judgment that's taken in for one cumulative judgment.
And is that amount in dispute, or does everyone agree it's what your pay record says?
Your Honor, I don't know. I think that they cannot. I was not agreeing with the retroactive back to the date of the birth of the child because they didn't file. I think it's back to the date that of the filing of the lawsuit. I think that's back to that date.
That's legally incorrect, Judge. Our petition clearly states, and Texas Code clearly allows us to do 4 years prior to filing. The child was born March of 2022, which is less than 4 years. So the law does allow the court to consider retroactive child support back to the date of the child's birth because he is under the age of 4. So I think that's a misunderstanding, the law.
Ms. Taylor, is there anything you'd like to say about that?
Your Honor, I'm in agreement with the Attorney General's position.
Okay. So knowing that, Mr. Ford, you still can dispute it. You don't have to agree to it back until the child's date of birth. So just to confirm, that is in dispute, the time frame for back child support as well as the amount?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's fine.
Yes.
It becomes clear that things are in dispute more than they are agreed upon here. And yes, there is a poll. Thanks for the reminder, Mikey. It's nice when somebody reminds you about your poll. It's about seaweed. I would love to know if you've tried seaweed or not. Tell me in the poll and then tell me in the chat. And yeah, it's not looking good for him. But again, there's formulas that you follow. If they weren't disputing some of these things, they're pretty standard based on income and filed taxes, etc. But, well, you'll see.
Okay. And I guess you can continue, Ms. Armstrong.
Yes, Judge. Based on that, I'd like to call the parties individually on the agreements first and make sure those are agreements and then begin the trial on the contested issues.
Okay. I guess before you do that, Ms. Taylor, do you agree with what Ms. Armstrong said? Or
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Forrest, do you agree with what Ms. Armstrong said with the knowing that retroactive child support is an issue?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. You may call the clients and then.
Thank you. I'll call Mr. Moore first. Mr. Moore, did you have a chance to hear me state to the court what our partial agreements are at this time?
Yes.
And were those in fact your partial agreements, minus the one that retro starts at the date of birth, minus that one?
No. The agreements to meet at certain places, that's what you're talking about?
No, sir. I stated partial stipulations to the court that we have an agreement on certain things. Were those in fact your partial agreements at this time?
As far as the visitation and everything.
Yeah, what about like, so I have to drive all the way out here to the port and visit my kid instead of meeting halfway or something?
Objection non-responsive, and they can't be discussing things while he's on the witness stand.
I'm asking if, when it's time for me to visit with my son, I have to drive all the way out here to the port and visit with him instead of us meeting halfway somewhere?
That was the partial agreement, sir. So if you want me to go one by one, I'll go one by one. So let's just go one by one since there's unclear. So the first thing I stated to the court was that mom was going to be the managed conservator, you're going to be the possessory conservator. Is that agreement? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. The second thing I stated to the court was that how the visitations would go, for 4 phases, and then a standard possession order. Was that an agreement? Yes or no?
So that's how it has to go. That's how it has to go.
I'm asking if this is your agreement, sir. You can say, yes, this is my
No.
agreement. Okay, so you do not agree to the how the visitation will go?
No, I don't think I should drive all the way to the port to.
Objection non-responsive. I'm not asking you about the location. I'm asking you about the schedule of the visitation.
Yes,
Which are
yes.
two different things. Okay, so you do agree to how the schedule of the visitation will go?
Yes.
Okay, now, as far as the pickup and drop-off locations of the Chick-fil-A and LaPorte, do you agree to that being the location for pickup and
No.
drop-off?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, as far as the, so we put a no by that one. Okay, as far as the non-disclosure finding from mom's address, do you agree to that?
Can you repeat that?
As far as the non-disclosure finding from mom's address and contact information, do you agree to that?
Yes.
Okay, as far as you and mom using the app close program to communicate concerning the child, do you agree to that?
Yes.
Okay, as far as no parties having private health insurance at a reasonable cost and mom to apply for government medical for the child, do you agree to that?
Yes.
As far as you paying $250 a month for medical support starting June 1, 2024, do you agree to that?
Yes.
Okay, and so based on all of this, the things that you do not agree to, just to be clear, is the drop off and pickup location, correct?
Right.
When retroactive child support will begin, if at all, correct?
Right.
The amount of any retroactive child support.
Right.
And the amount of any current child support for this child, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, do you agree to the arrears that you owe in the prior case as of yesterday's date of $3,642 that you're behind?
I don't agree with that because I was sending the money and.
Okay, not a objection, non-responsive after I don't agree to that.
Sustained.
Okay. And do you agree to the medical support that you're behind as of yesterday's date of $273.15 for medical arrears on the prior order?
That for Ireland, yes.
You do agree to that?
For the medical,
For the medical arrears, yes, sir.
no.
Okay, not a problem. I pass this witness on the agreements, Judge.
Okay, you may call your next witness on the agreements.
I'll call Ms. Lewis on just the agreements. Ms. Lewis, were you able to hear the partial agreements I stated to the court just now?
Yes, ma'am.
And were those in fact your partial agreements?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is it my understanding that, I'm sorry, strike that, Judge. I pass the witness on the agreements.
Okay, and I guess you may proceed. Do you want to start the questioning or would you like someone else to?
I can start, Judge. That's not.
I think this is also when the judge realizes she didn't do her YouTube warning. So she is going to give a little warning. It's going to feel directed at us. It's meant to. Just live with that feeling. It's okay.
No problem.
And then just briefly before you begin, one housekeeping item. I just want to remind everybody who is here today and anyone watching on YouTube that video recording, broadcasting, audio recording, photographing of court proceedings. It is prohibited and you can be found in contempt of court. So nobody should be doing that, whether they're here on the Zoom call or whether they are out watching on YouTube. And you may proceed, Ms. Armstrong.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and call Mr. Moore first. Mr. Moore, where do you currently work?
Keenan Advantage Group.
I'm sorry, say again, Mr. Moore.
Keenan Advantage Group.
Eden,
Keenan.
and are you self-employed,
Yes.
independent contractor? Okay. And what do you do there?
Haul chemicals.
Okay, so you're a truck driver, basically. Truck driver, sir?
Yes.
And how long have you been working there as an independent contractor?
The end of 21, November.
November 2021 through present?
Yes.
Okay, is this your only one company that you work for?
It was for Keenan Advantage just bought them out in 22. So it was for transfer. And we got
They
bought out by
changed
Keenan
names.
Advantage.
Thank you. Okay. And this is the only one source of income you have, this one
Yeah.
job?
Yes.
Okay. And now let's talk about, before we go into that, let's talk about the prior order from that was signed by the court back in February 18th of 2014. Are you familiar with that prior order?
Yes.
Okay. And in that prior order, you were ordered to pay child support to Miss Lewis. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall the amount of that child support?
It was 430, I think it was, or $400.
Okay, 400 a month for current child support. Do you recall it being an extra 30 a month for medical, I believe, which made it 430 total?
Yes.
All right, okay. And all right. And do you recall paying your child support and medical support to the state disbursement unit each month as ordered by the court?
Yes.
Okay. And so I'm going at this time, I'd like to enter the State's Exhibit 1, which is an updated copy of the pay record, which should have been attached to our original petition.
Does anyone have any objection to me admitting the updated pay record as State's Exhibit 1?
No objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, it's admitted.
Thank you, Judge. And may I share my screen for Mr. Moore's benefit while I question him about it?
You may do so.
Thank you. Okay, give me 1 second, Mr. Moore.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for the raid, Colin. If you guys are just getting here, please make sure that you've clocked in for your shift by hitting the like button and make sure that you are subscribed. There are just a few more days left in May, and you can make my dreams come true. We are watching this case. It's really just getting going about child support down in Texas, and we're having a good time. If you'd like to tell me what you had for dinner tonight, I'd love to hear about it. And if you didn't like what you had for dinner, tell me what you wish you had.
To see where everyone can see it. Okay, is everyone able to see State's Exhibit 1?
Yes.
Specifically, Mr. Moore, can you see it? It's for you.
Yes.
Maybe
Okay.
click on that little arrow to the side to make all the formatting stuff go away. So it'll be a little bigger. See, there's a little arrow midway through the page. Yep, there you go.
Did it work? Okay, thank you, Judge. All right, as you can see, this is Mr. Moore. Can you confirm that the top right corner says May 28th, 2024, that it was generated today's date?
Yes.
Okay, and can you also confirm to the court that this has your name and Ms. Lewis's? Now I'm gonna scroll down to the last page of this exhibit, okay? So bear with me while I do that. All right, it has 22 pages, so I'm on page 22, page 22. Can you look at the child support section as of today's date and see what amount it shows that you are behind in child support?
Balance is $3,642.
Okay, $3,642 as of yesterday's date. And then if we scroll over, can we see the amount of medical support, the pay record says that you're behind for medical?
$273.15.
Perfect. And what amount for medical arrears are you able to pay towards the $273.15 for the medical arrears judgment? How much per month do you think you can afford to pay towards that small number?
$50.
You said, I'm sorry, sir?
$50.
Yeah, an additional $50 to pay back the medical arrears? Okay, thank you, sir. And then for the child support arrears of the $3,642 as of yesterday's date, how much are you asking the court to have you pay towards that judgment?
I would try to do 150.
An additional 150 towards the child support arrears, sir? Is it, did I hear you correctly?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm writing this down. Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen at this time.
Maybe so.
I have a question as well.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Moore,
Mr. Moore, this is not the time for questions.
This is not the time for questions, Mikey. It is the time to tell us what you had for dinner. You had pizza. I love pizza, baby. Yummy. And thank you. If you too want to be a member, you can do that. And no, it doesn't matter if you don't remember what you had for dinner. You can live vicariously through our thoughts of dinner. Like Mikey having pizza. This guy is a terrible witness. I don't know that he's been prepared very well with his lawyer, as we'll be able to tell here going forward. He's just not prepared for what she's bringing up. But everybody's dinner sounds delicious tonight. I'm getting hungrier and hungrier. Salmon sounds good. Sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit from Starbucks. Starbies. Yeah, Cynthia, you're gonna hear some big numbers coming up here, and it's gonna be a little confusing to me why they wouldn't have a plan via the workplace. But anyways, doing dishes, you had baked potato with cheese. I like that, Sherry. It's a very good basic dinner. I like that. Like I've said before, I have to go pick up my grocery order after this. I'm a late night lady. Take that as you might. So after we're done here, I'm going to go do that. Oh, nice. Well, this is, I just mean these numbers are bigger than the ones we normally hear. You'll see.
This is a trial.
All right, I'm sorry.
all right, Mr. Moore, since your son was born, you do agree that he was born March 29th, 2022. Is that correct?
Correct.
And did you pay Miss Lewis any money for child support to help out with your son?
Yes.
And what forms of payment did you give to Miss Lewis to help out with your son?
At first, I would go there and supply pampers or order things off Amazon. Then I started sending her Zelle.
Well, let's just talk about the cash. I'm not talking about items. I'll get to that in a minute. Let's talk about cash. So you said you sent cash through Zelle, the Zelle app?
Yes.
And do you recall what month and year you began sending money through the Zelle app to Miss Lewis?
Oh, it was towards the end of 2022.
The end of 2022? Do
Yes.
you recall how much you've given her through Zelle from the end of 2022 through present date?
I'm not sure. I had sent it to the attorney. I'm not sure how much I Zelled her.
Okay. Do you have your Zelle records available where you could look that up?
Yes.
Okay.
At the top, that's what 22. 13,290.
$13,290. And that was from the time the child was born through today's date, how much you've given her through Zelle. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you give her any other cash or any other method of through any other apps or any other methods?
No.
Okay. Now you stated earlier that you also gave her some items for the child that
Yes.
you delivered to her. Okay. Can you tell me what those items were?
That was everything, car seat, stroller, baby crib, like everything he needed as a baby, pretty much.
Car seat, stroller, crib, and these
Uh-huh.
items that you delivered to Miss Lewis and she kept at her home for the
Yes,
child?
I had it delivered there off Amazon.
Okay, so you purchased it on the Amazon app and it was delivered directly to Miss Lewis's address. Is that correct?
Yes, yes,
Okay, but you paid for these items?
yes.
Okay, and if you could total up in your head real quick how much those items came to for the car seat, the stroller, and the crib and the diapers.
I'm not sure.
You just have to give me in some kind of estimate. You able to look on your Amazon app? Would that help you? Okay. It could just be an estimate.
In fact, Cynthia, I beg you to stay around to the end because it seems that way, but in fact, I don't know that it is. Jim, thank you so much. You're amazing. Make sure that you have gifting turned on. People are awesome like Jim.
No,
We
it's
do
not
members only. Hey,
Okay.
sorry.
Right.
I was just telling them about members only on Sundays. That's when we do members only. But yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Look at that, Cynthia, you got one. Leslie got one. This is awesome. Thank you again, Jim. Let's see how this continues.
Well, we'll just have to table that for now. Let's go back to your job, okay? Now, as a truck driver, how much did you make? Let's go back to 2022, okay? So I want to talk about the year of 2022. You were working at the same company that you're working at now, correct?
Yes.
And
Well,
what was your income for the year? I know it had a different name, but it was basically the same company because they got taken over, correct?
But things changed once the second company took over. Okay.
Understood. So let's talk about in 2022. What did you make for that year?
22.
Mhm.
I can't recall. I think I sent the tax return.
I understand. All right. So if I told you that would it be surprising to learn that in 2022, after you took out your business expenses, you made about $119,458 that year?
I can't recall if that's what it was or not.
Okay. And do you have any other minor children besides the one son you have with Miss Lewis currently? I couldn't hear your response, sir.
No, I don't.
Okay, perfect. All right. Now let's talk about your income from 2020. Actually, let's go back to 2022. You said that you provided some tax returns for 2022. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to pull those up in a minute. Let's go to 2023 while I get that pulled up. 2023, what did you make on your tax returns for 2023?
I refresh his memory, Your Honor.
You may do so.
He's a terrible
272,
witness.
119.
I'm sorry, can you say that? more?
272,119. I mean, 92, I'm sorry. That was
Okay.
the first.
Repeat that all.
I'm sorry, just for the record, to be clear, it was $272,192 for the year of 2023. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Now, as a truck driver, is that about what you're making this year as well, 2024?
No.
Okay. Have you made any money so far in 2024?
No. Truck stays in the shop.
I'm sorry, say again?
My truck it stays in the stays breaking down. It's in the shop. So no, I haven't been working. Like,
The last 5 months you have not worked, is what
yes,
you're
I
saying?
have been working. It's like one load a week.
Okay, and are so you do have a truck available to do loads this year in 2024, correct?
He is not, these are not gross numbers, I think. These are after deductions. They're talking about these numbers. But we will go into them a little bit more. The 20% rule, I believe they do, which is what, and they have a maximum child support that they calculate up until, but he probably should have been paying more than $400 a month in the past while if he makes that much.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
As a
And do
non-
you recall what you, objection non-responsive after yes?
Sustained.
Do you recall what you made in the month of January of 2024?
No,
Okay. Do you have any income of what you made in February of 2024?
no,
What about March of 2024?
no,
What about April of 2024?
no.
How do you get paid, sir?
Get paid on check.
So they give you a paper check or they give you a direct deposited check to your bank account?
Is that direct deposit?
Okay, did you bring any proof of your bank account information as was requested by the Attorney General's office?
No.
Have you provided any income information as bank account statements to
I'm sorry.
Ms. Taylor?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Did you provide any bank information of your direct deposits to opposing counsel, Ms. Taylor?
Yes, the Capital One.
You provided that to Ms. Taylor, but not to the Attorney General's office?
This should have my Capital One account.
Let me start over. Did you provide your Capital One
Yes.
bank account information to the Attorney General's office?
Yes.
And how did you send that to the Attorney General's office?
Well, I didn't send it. I sent it over here to Mr. Steinman.
Okay, so you have no idea if it was sent to the Attorney General's
No,
office?
I don't know.
Okay, perfect. All right. Now let's talk about, where do you live, sir? Not your address. I don't want your address, just city.
Louisiana.
Okay, thank you. And one of the partial agreements I stated, which you corrected, was not a partial agreement, was the drop-off and pickup location of the Chick-fil-A in LaPorte, correct?
Correct.
And where would you prefer the pickup and drop-off location to be?
State line.
I'm sorry?
State line, Texas and Louisiana state line.
Okay, I need more information on that. So what
Oh.
the location? Is that there's a McDonald's there?
Benton, Louisiana.
Say again?
Benton, Louisiana.
Can you spell that, sir?
What is it? Vinton.
Oh, Vinton, Louisiana. Gotcha. Okay. Okay, I pass this witness at this time, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Forbes, do you have any questions for your client?
Yes. So you operate a truck and you are paid a gross amount every year, correct?
Correct.
And out of that gross amount, how much is taken out by the company?
30%.
30%. And then you also have a lot of expenses when you're operating the truck.
Objection leading at this point, Judge?
Correct.
Sustained.
Do you have a lot of expenses that come out of your operation of the truck?
Yes.
What type of expenses?
Toll, fuel tax, road tax, Qualcomm.
Can he come closer to the microphone? Because I can hear you, Mr. Forbes, but am I the only one who's it's a little hear him?
Around.
And so I think he said fuel. I'm not sure what he said, to be honest.
Yeah, fuel, road tax, tolls, Qualcomm, the pump for the truck that we need to air off or pump off a load. It's just everything dealing with trucking that comes out of it. 2290 form.
2290. Everything else doing with trucking.
That's it. It's just everything dealing with trucking.
Also, I think what we should be clear of is I'm not sure if they were married or not. They had one other child together who is now over the age of 18. And now he has a 2-year-old with her. So he is a glutton for punishment. That's all I can say.
So what amount of income do you receive in your bank account every month?
Like 6,000.
Your Honor, I'm gonna have to object to this line of questioning. The Attorney General's office requested bank statements from Mr. Moore, and he failed to produce those during discovery. So I'm asking that any testimony dealing with his bank accounts and what he received be banned from testimony.
Mr. Forbes, do you have a response?
We did turn that information over to, Ms. Taylor's office. But I'm not completely certain whether we did to the Attorney General. I have sent her pay stubs.
Correct. I'm not objecting to any testimony dealing with pay stubs or income tax, only bank account statements, because
Well-
that was not turned over.
And I'm a little confused as to how he can answer that question for you, but he couldn't answer the question when Ms. Armstrong asked the same question just moments ago.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure what time frame you're even talking about.
I'll rephrase the question. Your Honor.
Okay, and then does the AG's office have these documents? Ms. Taylor, do you have these documents?
I don't have the documents.
The OAG does not have any bank records. All we have is 2022 and 2023 tax returns. I have no objection to those testimonies, but as far as bank accounts, I'm gonna object to not being turned over, not properly given during the time that they were requested.
And Mr. Forbes, do you have proof that you sent these to anybody?
I emailed them to Ms. Armstrong, but it was just, some pay stubs. I mean, that's what just pay stubs, not bank records. He gets paid by a pay stub, so I'd like to ask him questions about that.
Okay, but he just testified, I just want this clear, he did just testify, he does not know what he earned in January through April of 2024. Okay, and Ms. Taylor, you have the pay stubs that he's talking about?
Your Honor, I only have the few emails from this morning. I am covering for Miss Wynn, but I have access to her email. I don't see anything regarding the pay stubs.
Judge, just to be clear, the Attorney General's office did not receive pay stubs. We received the 2022 and 2023 tax returns and all the attachments thereto.
Then yes.
No, you are correct, Sherry. That is the mom's attorney with her Zoom box lit up right now, Attorney Renee Taylor. She doesn't seem quite as zealous as the other attorney here for the Attorney General's office. And being a trucker can't be fun. I would agree with that. But, you know, it's a good living he sounds like he's making. Yeah, really, right? And thank you, Miss Vicky. Appreciate that.
Your Honor, I do have the tax returns from 21, 22, 23.
Okay.
So does anyone have the pay stubs besides Mr. Forbes?
The Attorney General's office does not have pay stubs or bank account information, no.
Mr. Forbes, did you send anybody that information?
I believe I sent it to Ms. Armstrong when I sent the tax return. And I do know that there was some discovery done that was sent over to Ms. Ben's office. I withdraw the question. I will just stick to the tax return.
Okay, you can proceed.
Ms. Moore, Mr. Moore, what type of income did you have in 2022? How much income did you have in 2022?
I can't really recall. How much?
On your tax return, you indicated that your taxable income was 36,000. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And can you briefly explain why?
This is taxable income?
Objection, Your Honor. I believe the question is misleading.
I'm going to sustain that. And I will be honest with all of you, I did not hear the answer. So it's not going to be considered in my ruling unless something else gets asked.
Mr. Moore, the amount of expenses that comes out of your gross income for last year, do you remember that amount?
I don't. I don't.
May I present his tax returns to refresh his memory?
Does anyone have any objection to that?
Which year of tax returns is he speaking of? Which year?
2023.
Oh, 2023. I have no objection to 2023 tax returns. I do have a copy of those.
Okay. You may
No objections.
you may use those to refresh his recollection. Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Moore, in the part one of the tax return on the first page, is that what your cost of goods sold was, that figure?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 115,
881.
881. What does that represent?
It represents the percentage that's been taken out and maintenance, escrow.
Explain what escrow is.
It's what the company takes out every pay period.
Okay, is that 30%?
Yes.
And on the next portion in part two, those are all your expenses?
Yes.
What type of expenses are those?
For the pump, wet kit pump, maintenance around the house, insurance on vehicle, and supplies.
What about just maintenance? Can you explain what is involved in the maintenance of the vehicle?
Tires, brakes, inspection through the company. All changes.
What about travel expenses? Meals?
Yes, sir.
Based on your expenses and your cost of goods sold, you're saying your income is 36,700?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Ms. Taylor, do you have any questions for Mr. Moore?
Just a few questions. Good morning, Mr. Moore. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. In regards to your 2023 tax return, at the last setting, you only provided one page, is that correct?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
I was thinking that's all I had to bring. Because I sent the 2022, which was in a different year.
Is it your position that you did not ask your CPA to make any changes from 2 weeks ago to today to that tax return?
No, it wasn't no changes made to it.
Okay. And what was the reason for the change of income from 2022 to 2023?
We got bought out by Keenan Advantage Group, and they cut everything, like cut all the rates, and pretty much they trucks, the company drivers is the ones that goes out first, and then on operators goes out afterwards.
Did you have the same expenses last year?
Last year, I
In
had
2022, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. That was confusing. So did you have the same expenses from 2022 going into 2023, or did those change?
They changed because at first I was leasing a truck and they was taking out maintenance and everything else. I bought a truck in June, so then I started going off for on operators. But before I was leasing a truck, so they charged more to lease their truck plus the maintenance, 10 cents a mile for maintenance and everything else.
And do you believe that this child deserves the accurate amount of child support?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Do you believe that this child deserves an accurate amount of child support based off of your tax return?
Yes.
Okay. And it's your position that you're only bringing in $6,000 a month?
6,000, I get paid $750 a week, to be honest, to be exact.
Sir, what number?
$750 a week.
$750 a week?
Okay. And then in regards to the pickup and drop off, I know we were discussing this earlier. Are you aware under the Texas Family Code that exchanges typically occur at the custodial parent's residence?
No.
Okay. I pass the witness, Your Honor.
And Judge, I have a
Ms.
few more
Foster?
questions. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Judge. Now, Mr. Moore, I'm going back to your 2023 tax return, okay? Now, do you have a copy of it in front of you still? If not, I can share my screen if
Yes.
that's more helpful to Mr. Moore.
I am.
You have it? Okay. Now, I'm going to refer to your gross receipts and sales, which is listed on a part 1 of your income, okay? Let me know when you're there.
What number is it again?
It's under part 1 of your income, whereas it's number 1, it says gross income and sales for the year of 2023.
Okay.
Do you see that? Okay. Do you agree with me that it states you made $272,192 in the year of 2023, according to your tax return?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm going to go down to line 4, where it says cost of goods sold, which you testified when your attorney was questioning you. You recall that amount, $115,881?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you have it listed under cost of goods sold, but did you sell any goods in 2023 in your line of work?
No.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to scroll down to where you have those 115, those expenses itemized. Okay. So you have it listed under what's called a, I think it's called an item 1 list. It's called statement number 1, excuse me. Are you there on statement number 1 where you itemize what the 115,881 is for? And again, I can share my screen if it's faster because I have it pulled up. Let me know if that's easier for you, Mr. Moore. Judge, can I just share my screen?
Yes, does anyone have any objection to that?
No, Your Honor.
Let's see if I-
I do, because I had to edit out this poor man's social security number. But I did, so we're fine.
Oh, Your Honor.
You may
Okay.
share your screen.
Thank you. I'm just going to share my screen, Mr. Moore. Let me see. Are you able to see where it says statement number 1?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as you can see, do you agree with me that this is your Schedule C, where you listed what the 115,881 deduction was for, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's look at the first one. You said deposit paid to bank, $17,000. Can you explain to the court what that's for?
He can't figure it out.
Mr. Moore, that question's for you, sir.
Oh,
It's safe. I already scanned. I did it.
no, man.
I couldn't hear your response, sir.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Now, the percentage paid to company for line haul, is this the 30% you were referring to earlier through your attorney's testimony?
Yes.
Okay, and that came at 30%, so 30% of your income was at 89,824. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then this office computer, was this a purchase of a computer?
Yes.
So this is not an expense you have every year, correct?
Correct.
This was a one-time expense only for the year of 2023, correct?
Right.
Okay, now tires. Is this for purchasing tires or fixing tires?
Purchase.
Okay, so the year of 2023, you purchased 7,300 worth of tires?
Yes, that was 8 tires and those with 10.
Okay, so you purchased 8 tires in 2023. And is this something that you do every year, or was this just for 2023?
That was 2023.
Just for 2023. Okay, so the tires was a one-time purchase for 2023. The computer was a one-time purchase for 2023, correct?
Yes,
The 89,824 was the 30% that you pay your company, and that you pay every year. Is that correct? That 30%?
yes.
Okay. All right. And that's 89,824. And that's a yearly thing. Okay. Now going back to 17,000, you have no idea what that's for, correct?
No.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing at this time, if I may, Judge.
You may stop.
Thank you. So just to recap, sir, based on your 2023 tax return, you made $272,192. If we subtract three of those things, the computer, the tires, the 30% of the 89,000 you have to pay to your company, we're still left with much more than 36,000 for the year. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I can give you that exact number in a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and track the 1757 for the computer just for that year, the tires of 7,300 just for that year, minus the 89,824 you have to pay, which is the 30% for your company. If my math is correct, that still leaves you a yearly gross income, self-employed income of $173,311. Is my math correct, sir?
I didn't calculate. I'm not sure, I guess.
Okay, it's okay. All right, no worries. We'll let the court calculate. Okay, all right. Now in 2022, let's go back to that year. 2022, again, your tax return that you provided say that you made $119,458 for that year, and that was after the deductions, correct? Mr. Moore?
I'm assuming, I don't have the tax return in front of me.
Okay. I believe your tax return, let me see if I can pull it up. And correct me if I'm wrong, you made more in 2022 before the company was taken over than you did in 2024. I think you did state that, correct? In 2023, excuse me, I misspoke. Correct? Okay.
Yes.
So in 2022, your income was higher. I believe it was at a 300 and something thousand dollars, correct?
Yes.
And then after we took out all those deductions, even though there was no evidence of any deductions, giving you credit for all those deductions you stated, it came down to 119,000, almost less than half, $119,458 for the year of 2022, which is less than the year of 2023. Is that correct?
Yes, if that's what you calculated, yes.
Okay, I pass this witness, Judge. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Forbes, do you have anything further for Mr. Moore?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Taylor, would you like any further questions?
Nothing further.
Okay, Ms. Armstrong, you can call your next witness.
I'll call Ms. Lewis, Judge. Thank you. Ms. Lewis, do you recall being ordered to receive child support in this case on a prior order?
For the first child.
Mm-hmm. And do you
Yes.
recall that that was supposed to be paid by who? By whom?
By Mr. Moore.
Okay. And did Mr. Moore pay his child support and medical support each month as ordered by the court in that prior order?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I heard his testimony where he stated that there were still some outstanding balances to you for child support and medical support that was still owed. Do you agree with those amounts he said is still owed to you?
You mean from what you were showing him
The pay record.
on the
The
yes,
prior-
ma'am.
Okay.
Mhm.
And are you okay with his requesting the court to have him pay back the medical arrears at $50 per month starting June 1, 2024?
Yeah.
Okay, and are you okay with his request to the court to have him pay an additional $150 per month towards the child support arrears from that prior order?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Now, let's talk about, you heard Mr. Moore's testimony on his income, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when y'all were together, was he still doing the same type of truck driving industry?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you familiar? Do you have any personal knowledge of how he did his taxes when y'all were together?
I do not.
Okay, not a problem. Do you have any personal knowledge of any business expenses that he had from his truck driving business when y'all were together?
No, ma'am. He was
Okay.
driving for a different company. So
Okay, and from that different company, do you have any personal knowledge of how he would um, generate his tax returns from that other company that he worked with when?
no, no, ma'am.
Okay, not a problem. Now let's talk about from the time your son was born, which was March 29th, 2022, to today's date. Did Mr. Moore give you any money? He testified through some Zelle payments. Do you recall these Zelle payments he gave you?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe he testified to the amount of $13,290 worth of Zelle payments. Does that sound familiar to you?
I don't agree with that amount.
Okay. What
Um,
amount do you recall that he paid through just through Zelle?
because from what I could see just from my bill,
Mm-hmm.
that first year in 2022, I
Mm-hmm.
only have let's see, 11 like
From
$1,100
22?
just for from June of 2022 until the next payment I received was $250 in January 2023.
Okay. And did you have a chance to add up all the payments for 2023 that he sent to you by Zelle?
I didn't have the chance to add all of them up, but I am familiar that from that time to somewhere around June of 2023, he
Mhm.
was sending me about $200 a month. And
Okay.
then I returned, yeah, once I returned to a full work schedule, he started to send me $400 a month.
Now, the $400 a month, I'm not interested in knowing about the 400 a month that he was under the
Okay.
order to pay for the first child. I'm only
No,
interested.
no, this is for the baby.
Okay. So he sent 400 a month through Zelle for the baby.
Yes, ma'am.
$400 per month for how many months, ma'am?
So that was from I would say about June of 2023 until now.
Okay. So that's about 7 months in 2023 and 5 months of 2024,
Yes, ma'am.
which comes to 12 months at $400 per month. Does that sound right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now you said prior to sending the 400 a month, he was sending 200 a month prior to that. Do you recall how many
Yes.
months the 200 a month for?
No, because it was kind of the report that I pulled was kind of skippy. But I had a payment in June from him for like $500, and that was June
What year?
2022. June 2022.
Okay.
And then in August of 2022, I had a $300 payment. In September of 2022, I had a $300 payment, and
Okay.
then I don't see any other payment um from October 2022 to December of 2022.
Okay, understood. So when I add up the amounts you gave me, the 4,800, which was for the 400 a month times 12 months, plus the $300 payment, plus another $300 payment, plus a $500 payment, it came to 5,900. Does that sound about the right total of what he's giving you for child support for the baby?
I would agree with that because that's the records that I have.
5,900. Okay. And you're willing to give him credit for the 5,900 towards whatever retroactive child support judgment may or may
That's
not
fine.
be taken against him. Okay. Now, are you asking for child support based on his current child support to be based on his current income?
So what I'm asking is that at different times, according to what he said was that he was making different amounts of money, and so in those times, I feel like it should be according to what he was making at whatever time.
Understood. 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 Now let's talk about the items that he says he gave you. He stated in his testimony that he gave you car seat, stroller, crib, and various diapers for the to Amazon to your house to use for
So
all
that's
that.
not true. That is not how that happened. A couple of times he came to the house. One being the child's first birthday party. He brought two cases of diapers and a case of wipes. That
Okay.
was once, and I think I only recall that happening one other time. He's never Amazoned anything to my house. And the car seat stroller deal that he's referring to, it costed about somewhere $300 to $400 that I ordered on Amazon. But he did pay for it. I purchased the crib myself with because it was just the pack and play. It was $75.
Okay. So just to be
He
clear,
did.
Miss Lewis, hold on, just to be clear, he gave you
Okay.
$100 towards those items. Is that what I heard you say?
Yeah, he gave me the money to purchase that
In the amount of
stroller.
$400, to be clear.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And then he gave you various diapers. Can you give me a total of what those diapers may have added up to? If you had to add the value of those, or the
So
total?
one case of diapers is about $40. So 40 times 4 is 160.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
then a case of wipes is like $25 maybe.
And how many cases of wipes did he give you?
One.
Oh, just one, so just the $25. So is it okay if I add the 400 plus the 160 plus the 25 to the 5,900 credit
Yes,
that you
ma'am.
are going to give him? Okay, let me do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So once I add those three additional amounts, I get $6,485. Are you willing to give him credit in that amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now let's talk about the drop off and pickup location. Now don't tell me your address, just tell me what city you and the child are in.
In Houston currently, but I'm in transition back to LaPorte.
Understood. Oh,
Yeah.
understood.
Remember, we had mold in the house, so
That's right. Okay. Now the pickup and drop off that you're requesting is a Chick-fil-A in LaPorte, Texas. Is that correct?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Say Chick-fil-A again and make me want to eat chicken. I'm so hungry now. Now I'm absolutely regretting not going earlier and picking up the groceries.
And are you aware that Mr. Moore lives in Vinton, Louisiana?
Yeah, he lives in Opelousas. Yeah.
Sorry, in Opelousas, Louisiana.
Yes,
Excuse me.
ma'am.
Are
That's
you
okay.
familiar where Vinton, Louisiana is located?
Yes, I am.
Do you know how far from LaPorte that is?
That's about a 2-hour drive.
2-hour drive. Okay. Would that inconvenience you if you had to drive 2 hours for all of his visitations?
Yes, ma'am.
Has he
Because of
been his visitations on a regular basis?
ma'am.
Has he been doing any visitations on a regular basis?
So not on a regular basis. He will. I don't know really what he does because he does not contact me to communicate with the child. He contacts our oldest daughter, and that's so I don't know what he's doing when I'm not around. But as far as any visitation, like seeing the kid actually,
Yes.
those have been limited because of the case that we had.
Can you expand on what case you're referring to?
Well, this case, this
Oh,
custody
this child
child
support
support.
case.
Yes, ma'am.
Understood. Now, has he contacted you um to see the child
Um, maybe somewhere around 3 to 4 times.
since the child's been born?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you think that if you were to drive 2 hours to Vent, Louisiana, is it possible, based on your history, Mr. Moore, that he would not show up, or it's possible he would not show up?
No, I think he would show up.
You think he would show up if he had a scheduled date and time? Okay, good, good. Okay, I pass the witness charge.
Ms. Taylor, do you have any questions for your client?
Just a few questions. Ma'am, earlier in your testimony, you stated that you're unaware of any expenses related to Mr. Moore's business,
Correct.
but it's your position that he is underreporting his
Yes,
taxes.
I believe that he has money going into an escrow account. Mr. Moore, just from our history, you know, has laughed at and ridiculed me about our previous um court order and basically told me that he would do the same thing again.
And what do you mean? What are you referring to when you say the same thing?
Like whatever it was that, you know, he did with the income from before, like he's just gonna do it again because he doesn't feel like I deserve to get a fair amount of child support.
How much do you pay in daycare each month?
So when I first started sending the child, I was paying $1,000 a month. And when the child turned 18 months, I started paying 800.
How many times has he come to visit the child within the 18 months?
He's been able to see him like when we have functions for our oldest daughter. So if I have to calculate like between those times, I don't know. It's maybe about 10 times or less.
So you're saying that Mr. Moore thought it was funny that the last child had less child support than what she deserved.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're
And actually the last time we went to court for that case, the judge said to him, you know, and asked him, he said, "Sir, you know, do you think, you know, like basically like do you think I'm stupid because you went from making this amount of money to making that amount of money when all before and prior to that he was making an increase." So the judge did ask the question, but you know, I don't know that they even took it all into consideration.
and it's your position today that he's underreporting again.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
and this is in order to pay less child.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I pass the witness.
Mr. Forbes, do you have questions for Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Lewis, do you recall receiving $1,850 in May of 2023?
I do recall that.
Okay. So you were saying that he sent you $400 a month, basically, for the period of a year.
Whatever dates I gave, yes, yes, sir.
How often did you say he visited with the child?
So that is according to whatever is going on with like the functions that we might have with our older daughter. That was when mostly he would see our son.
I pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Armstrong, do you have anything further from Ms. Lewis?
Nothing further for Ms. Lewis.
Okay, Ms. Taylor, do you have anything?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, does anyone have any other witnesses they would like to call?
I have no further witnesses, Judge. I'd just like to do a closing argument when that time is appropriate.
Ms. Taylor, do you have any witnesses you would like to call?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Forbes, do you have any witnesses you would like to call?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Armstrong, you may start with closing arguments.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, through testimony today, we learned that the parties do have some stipulations. I'm asking the court to approve those stipulations. As far as the drop off and pickup, the Texas Family Code does usually default to pick up and drop off at the child's primary residence, in this case, Miss Lewis's primary residence. Due to the non-disclosure finding that's been agreed by the parties, we're asking that the pickup and drop off be somewhere near her home, but not at her home due to the non-disclosure finding. Through testimony, we heard Mr. Moore agree that he is behind medical arrears as of today's date of $273 and 15 cents. We ask the court to take a medical support judgment against Mr. Moore in that amount and set the payout at $50 per month starting June 1st, 2024, as he requested by the court. Also, during testimony, Mr. Moore admitted to being behind child support arrears in the prior order in the amount of $3,642 as of today's date. We ask the court to take a judgment against him for that amount, as well as add any retroactive child support judgment to that amount to make a cumulative judgment. And whatever that amount may be, to be paid out at $150 per month as he requested to begin June 1, 2024. Based on testimony, the Attorney General's office did calculate retro child support to use as a baseline amount for whatever the judge may decide, which is at the court's discretion, obviously. So based on 27 months of retro child support, based on his income from 2022, taking considerations income from 2023, we calculated retro child support of $45,690. I am asking the court to give him the full $13,290 credit that he testified to, which would leave still $32,400 if my calculations are correct, added to the $3,642 that he was already behind for a cumulative judgment, a cumulative child support judgment of $36,042 with a $150 a month payout to begin June 1, 2024, and payment to step up when the child emancipates. As far as current child support, Your Honor, through the course of this testimony, we did learn that Mr. Moore was willing to answer questions for his attorney, but not for myself when asked the same exact question about his income, as the court did notice that. He did eventually agree that his child support in his income in 2022 was around $119,458 per year. Once all the deductions were given to him, even though they were not itemized. So we're asking to use, that's the income I used to base his retro child support for that year, just so the court's clear where I got the number from. As far as the testimony of his 2023 income tax that was provided by him, it clearly stated on that income tax that he made $272,192 last year of self-employed yearly gross. Upon my calculations, I did give him credit for the full $115,881. I'm sorry, I did not give him credit for the full $115,881, as he had no idea where the $17,000 came from. And so I did not, in my calculations, Your Honor, I did not give him credit for that. I did give him credit for the computer, the tires, as well as the 30% to his company, which I believe, according to his tax return, was $89,824. Once I subtracted those deductions, his income for 2023 came to $173,311, I believe. Based on that income, Your Honor, I show that he would be maxed out at about $1,840 a month for one child. And so that is what I'm requesting or recommending to the court to set for child support for the one remaining child, $1,840 beginning June 1, 2024. And then for his payout of the child support arrears to increase to $1,990 if he has a balance remaining at the time the child emancipates. Everything else, I believe, was agreed to by the parties. And that is what I'm asking the court. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And Mr. Forbes, would you like to make a closing?
Yes, Your Honor. we have attempted to show that his income based on his tax returns is not accurate of what he's actually receiving. There's expenses that need to come off of that number that she just mentioned. His taxable income is a lot lower than what she's suggesting. And we're asking the court to take that in consideration. He's also objecting to having to drive all the way here from Louisiana. And he is asking for you to consider them meeting at a more central halfway location. So that's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay. And Ms. Taylor, would you like to make a closing?
Thank you, Your Honor. It's our position that the pickup and drop off should remain at the Chick-fil-A due to the non-disclosure agreement. I know that it strays a little bit from the Texas Family Code because typically it would be at the custodial parent's residence. However, due to the non-disclosure, I think it would be appropriate just for the safety of my client and the child for the pickup and drop off to be at the Chick-fil-A location. Additionally, my argument will mirror the Attorney General's argument in regards to the expenses that are included on the tax return. Child support should be set at $1,840 beginning June 1st. Mr. Moore does have a history, according to my client, of underreporting and evading his obligation to pay the proper child support amount. That also additionally shows when he presented only one page 2 weeks ago. It is unfair to my client to not have appropriate numbers regarding this child, just due to the fact that she is the primary caregiver. She is paying daycare. She pays $1,000 a month for this daycare. Dad is visiting when he can, I would imagine, but my client is the one bearing all of the weight on her shoulders in regards to the care for this child. Additionally, for the retroactive back child support amount, my client's position is that he only paid $6,400. So we would just ask for the credit to be only at $6,400. And that is it for my argument. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for your time.
And I'm going to take a break and do some calculations and review everything, and I'll be back with the ruling. So feel free to go to the bathroom and move around. I think it's safe to say you have at least 15 minutes, probably more. I wish I could give you a better estimate, but definitely feel free if you want to get some food or, take care of yourself. Feel free to do that.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A few moments later.
This is they're muted. They went on for 15 minutes, the two of them just sitting there. I did not record the entire thing, but I wanted to include a little bit of it because I just thought this was terrible. Can you imagine how pissed he is at his lawyer? Nobody in this room was prepared. It looks like they're sitting at somebody's dining room table, doesn't it? Is that centerpiece garlic? I have so many questions. So many questions. But lucky for us, finally, it's not a clock block. We're getting a result tonight. Oh my God, again. Just constantly. No, I don't. Sorry.
How am I said 15 minutes? So I don't know if it's more than that or less than that or right at it.
No, we're here, Your Honor.
Is Ms. Taylor here? And do you know, Ms. Armstrong, what time I said that?
I didn't even look at the clock, Judge. I'm sorry.
We'll wait for everyone.
No.
Looks like Ms. Lewis is here, and then here's Ms. Taylor. Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay, I'm going to make my ruling and render. So I am going to approve the agreement of appointing Ms. Lewis, the managing conservator, and Mr. Moore, the possessory conservator, for the one remaining child. And I'm going to approve an order that Mr. Moore have the phased-in visits that Ms. Armstrong read into the record. Hopefully I have this right. Feel free to say that I don't. I believe the first visit was on the first, third, and fifth weekend of the month, supervised, and it was for one visit, and that would be from
It's 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., Judge.
Great. Jot that down. And then the next visit, actually, I'm not sure I have this written down right at all, because the next visit was also one visit on the first, third, and fifth weekends. Was that true?
That's correct. From 12 to 4, this time unsupervised. That's correct.
And then 8 to 5 unsupervised on the first, third, and fifth Saturdays.
It was 11 a.m. to 3 for 3 visits. It's phase 3.
And that was 3 visits. And then the overnight, what was the time frame for the overnights?
Every other Saturday from 6 p.m. overnight to Sunday at 6 p.m. also for 3 visits.
To Sunday at what time?
6 p.m.
Okay, so that's again the first, third, and fifth weekend from 6 p.m. Saturday to 6 p.m. the next Sunday. And then he'll get to the standard possession order.
That's correct, Judge.
I am going to order and rule that the pickup and drop-offs will be at the Chick-fil-A in LaPorte.
Now more Chick-fil-A mention. I'm so hungry.
The one on Spencer Highway. I'm going to order that the parties use app flows to communicate and approve the non-disclosure regarding Ms. Lewis's information. I am going to approve the agreement regarding the government medical and order that Mr. Moore pay to Ms. Lewis cash medical of $250 each month beginning June 1st, 2024. If anyone gets private, if Mr. Moore gets private insurance at a reasonable cost, that could stop or would stop if he provided notice to Ms. Lewis, to the Attorney General's office, and he actually enrolled the child in that insurance. And for current child support, based on the testimony presented, I am finding that Mr. Moore's gross resources are $14,442.50. Giving him credit for the insurance and self-employed chart has the net at $8,901.89. I'm sorry, that is wrong. Yeah. A different number.
Judge, what was the monthly gross income? 14,000?
$14,442.50. And giving him credit for the $250 a month. Medical support has the net at $9,802.31. Child support at $1,840 each month. So I'm ordering that Mr. Moore pay to Ms. Lewis child support of $1,840 each month, beginning June 1st of 2024. For back child support, I am ordering back child support of $30,000 as of yesterday. And adding to that, the balance due in arrears, which gives a cumulative judgment against Mr. Moore in the amount of, I believe, $33,642. Yep. As of yesterday, and I'm ordering that Mr. Moore pay that back at a rate of $150 each month, beginning June 1st, 2024. I'm ordering the medical support judgment based on the pay record admitted against Mr. Moore in the amount of $273, much lower number, 273.15 as of yesterday. And I'm ordering that he pay that medical judgment back at a rate of $20 each month, beginning June 1st of 2024. The $150 amount towards the cumulative child support judgment will have a step up once this child emancipates. It would be the $1,840 plus the $150. And I'm also approving the court costs due to Fort Bend County on or before May 28th of 2025.
And Judge, I don't know if I misspoke during my recommendation, but can I do the judgments as of today instead of as of yesterday? Is that okay to make that one change?
Yeah, that should be fine. Does anyone have any I guess it was a court ruling anyway. So yeah, you can do, the judgments are going to be as of today. I'm sorry, May 28th, 2024, not May 27th, 2024.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Mikey's back from vacation and he is auditing lives. I saw him do it earlier today. Thank you for the reminder, Mikey. Yes, please like the video. YouTube Daddy is so weird about that. But we did have a lot of people in and out. I also don't know how to end the poll. I'm no good at, that's not even true, and I'm not going to say it. Oh.
My apologies. And then, Judge, may I get, I'm going to draft, if that's okay with everyone, and may I get an entry date just in case there's any, in case I can't get all signatures prior to that date.
It looks like is June 10th close enough? Or is that too far, too close?
No,
So
June
that's our-
10th is fine with me.
Well,
Okay with-
available on June 10th. That's our next, my next Fort Bend County docket. Mr. Forbes and Ms. Taylor, are you all available in case needed? And the way I do entries, if everyone signs off on it, no one needs to appear. If you have a drafting dispute, then you can show up and argue why your position is correct.
If you could put my bar information, I think that would be helpful.
Yes. I'll
I
put
think
that
it
on
should
the-
be in the system.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Ms.
Okay.
Taylor.
Well, then, thank you all so much for showing up, and you're all free to go.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, thank you.
Judge.
I'm going to stop the recording.
She did. She stopped the recording. What a day in that court. If you didn't really quite catch it, what happened was he maxed out on income, and so the amount that he's going to pay is the maximum amount for one child in Texas for child support. It is $1,840. He's also paying $250 a month in cash medical, $150 in arrearage for his $30,000 child support arrearage, and $50 a month in his $273 cash medical arrearage. So overall, not that bad. I mean, if he is in fact bringing home $14,000 a month after his expenses are deducted, then $2,000 shouldn't be that bad. I do appreciate each and every one of you being here. It means the world to me, and it's so helpful. Please do me a solid favor. Mikey pointed it out. Please like the video. Maybe leave a comment. Go watch some other ones. You know, all the good things. Tomorrow we have even more court. I downloaded so much court today, but we only did this case. Don't worry. We got it. So remember that I love you. I am proud of you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
One by one, billion by billion, they're holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing. If you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time.
Okay, let me try and close the poll. I don't know how to do that. Why can't I do that? Let's see if I can do that. And then I can, I don't know if I can. It's not really, I think I broke it. Oh, it takes so long for comments or for chats to load. Oh, 43 likes though, guys. That was not nice. Although thank you to the two of you that figured it out after. No, the poll will close as soon as I end it. I'm pretty sure. Oh, there it is. Here we go. Have you ever eaten seafood? 51% said yes. 40% said no. 8% said only in sushi, and 0% said you would. Oh, love it. Thanks again. I love you. Bye.